Alright, so this will be the second part of not the Heineken beer this time, the Hunter's Dry instead of the Heineken. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is use a strainer. So I've got right here, fairly nice one, stainless steel. So what I'm going to do is just scoop all of the pieces of apple out. So let me just quickly move you down. As you can see there, we have our bucket. See if I can zoom out on that. Right over there. So got that over there and this bucket over here, just so that I can get all of it out. So just want to scoop as much as I can out of this. It's actually got a really nice smell. So as I said, I'm just going to get all of this out. And then with all of this, I'll show you what I'm going to do, because it has absorbed a lot of the liquids. So just to maximize everything we do get out, I'm just going to show you what you do to that as well. If you don't have a press, you don't need to go out and buy one. You just need a cheesecloth so that you don't get any more liquids into your beer or into whatever beverage you decide to make. Some people would like to run this through a still, which you can do as well. This is just getting all of the tea bags out. As you can see, the color of the water has changed dramatically. Alright, so I just wanted to show you this. This is my SG reading from the previous one that we had, which was 1.040, and it is on just below 1, 0.998. So if you work that out, that should give you an alcohol reading of about 5.4% alcohol. Right, so I am busy currently with just filtering some of these things out. And I just wanted to show you of what I do with that. Just got another bucket, another strainer, just so that I don't have to keep holding onto it, and then I just pour it through there. This is only for the bigger pieces of apple that's left, so it will unfortunately not get rid of most of the things, but definitely at least some of the apple pieces. Then there is still a step after this to get all of those fine pieces out, as I said earlier, with the cheesecloth as well. This is just the first step, is to get most of it out. And I normally do a filtration about 4 times through different variations of filters. So firstly I just strain it through something so that I can get all of the pieces out. As you can see with that, it's not a lot, but it will definitely ruin your drink. Not taste wise, but I don't normally like pieces of something to eat while I drink it. So I'm trying to just get as much out as I can into this bucket. It is a little bit smaller, so I will unfortunately not be able to get everything out in this one. Okay, so as you can see, that's the limit for this bucket. Let's just see if I can zoom in on this quickly. Right there. It's already through the strainer, so anything more than that won't really be helpful. Okay, so that was one of the ways you can strain it. And the next part is I want to show you what happens at the bottom. So I got most of that out. Just going to move this one right here. And then mess all over myself. Then while doing that, just slowly pour so that I can show you what's happening at the bottom. So you can see all of that nice brown things at the bottom. That's mostly your yeast. So we're just going to continue pouring until we get some of that sediment. Well, you don't actually want it, but you want as much of the liquid that you can get. Let's just keep going. And right about there. Okay, so this is what you do not want in your beer or cider or anything you are making. This is mostly the yeast as well as pieces of fruit and just nasty stuff you don't want. Okay, so we do have that sorted now. We've got it in our bucket. Now on to the next step. Okay, so for the next part is filtering it with type of material. I unfortunately could not find my cheesecloth. Well, I could, but it's not clean, so no. So just filtering all of this again. I just decanted all of the ones in the bigger bucket into a smaller one. And now, as you can see, this is not that bad actually, because it is flowing fairly fast. So you already got most of that sediment and fruit pieces out. And I will show you now at the bottom. So I'm not going to pour the last little bit out of this one, just so that I can show you. All of the sediment at the bottom. So all of these fine pieces, this is why we run it through a cloth. I'll show you now what happens if you just pour everything on. So as you can see, it is draining, but very slowly, because all of the sediment has blocked the cloth. So I'm just going to move it up a little bit. And for the faint of heart, don't watch parts like this, you can see there's a lot of sediment down there. Now, don't throw this away just yet. You can still use it. Okay, so one of the ideas what you can do is always pour from the side, because it washes away most of the blocked parts on the cloth. Just moves it around a little bit. So pour slowly and just pour from the side. And as you can see and hear, it's still flowing fairly good. Now if you stop that, you'll eventually see not that it's just running out, but it will slow down. So depending on the grid of your cloth that you're using, or the filter that you're using, this one is not the best ideal thing to use, but this is a homemade beer, so you do it with what you have. Okay, so there's that. And we're just waiting for it to drop down a little bit. Okay, so I waited a while just so that I can show instead of just throwing all this around. So let me see if I can get just a quick pot on top. As you can see, it does not look like the greatest view you would think of when thinking of beer or something to drink in a lockdown situation. So with all of this, as I said, this is why you don't throw these away. It's still something trapped in it. So ideally it would be better suited to get something you can squeeze this with. Don't worry, my hands are cleaned, sanitized, aired and washed again, and I did not pick my nose after this part, so don't worry. Don't have to worry about that. Right, so step 1 of the basic filtering is done. Part 1 and 2, sorry. So now we just have all of this that's still left. So you can either go ahead and throw this away, or as I said, as you can see all of the nice juices floating around there, I filter this as well. So what you can do with this is, it's just a very time constraining situation, is start throwing this in as well. Okay, I'm just going to use a 1 tea bag as an example. So all of those, doesn't matter what fruit you have, as I have the apples, there might be pineapples involved. Squeezing all of that out. So eventually, through all of the fruit that you might have, it's going to become difficult squeezing it out like this. Okay, so on to the next step. Firstly, bottling it up. I unfortunately do not have any of the glass bottles left, so I'm just using a normal 5 liter bucket. So we're just pouring everything out to full. So this recipe made about 20 liters of nicely fermented fruit wine or beer, depending on how you want to see it, as Hunter's isn't really a strong beer fizzy type. Let's see if we can fold this. And the people at home watching this is, can you please just get on with it and show us the end results? Well, unfortunately, you're going to have to wait with me, as this is not the fastest process, and I do talk a lot. So, unfortunately for you, you're stuck with it, or you can just skip. I mean, it's up to you. So as I said earlier, with this, made about 20 liters of this, but with this batch that I'm making now, I'm only going to use about, or in the drums that I'm collecting now, I'm only going to be collecting about 10 liters. The other 10 liters will be used for a different project, but I will not unfortunately make a video on that process. But I will still show you something else you might do with it that can be interesting. So we're reaching the end of the bucket life. Just washing, have to tilt this a little bit. And let's see. Alright. There you go. So, step 3 with this. As you can see, it is still fizzing. That's why I just left it for that last. It could have probably been 2 to 3 days more, but I did not want to kill all of the yeast in this just yet. Now the reason for that is, in these 2 bottles, as I said, there's still a little bit of yeast alive in here. So that is where we're going to create our fizziness at the end. So we're just going to cap them off, put them in a warm, dry place for about a day, and then you're going to put it in a fridge. Reason you don't want to keep it in a cool, warm place, dry, warm place, that one, for more than that, is the yeast in this does build up pressure. So if you want to wake up in the middle of the night one night with either a hole in your roof or having to clean on aisle 3, 4 and 5, don't keep it for too long. As I said, just keep it enough because you want that into it as a carbonated drink. So remember that. Okay. Right, so for the final review on this, see, taste, smell, and if it's drinkable. That sort of goes with taste, but we'll see. Okay, so you do smell the tea, but not a lot of the apple. It's got a nice color to it, nice warm tone. Not as sweet as you would have liked it to be, but that's just because the yeast was doing its job and converted all of those sugars into alcohol, which we now can enjoy. And I have to say, this is something that I would drink on a regular basis. I don't like beer that much, to say, but this is really nice. So, as I said, the previous one, I do really hope you liked it and you're gonna try something in this nature of making yourself. It doesn't have to be Hunter's Dry or pineapple beer. Make it something interesting, make it your own recipe. Comment below, let's see those recipes out there. Stay tuned for another recipe up later. There will be more. I mean, we have to keep ourselves busy. Why not? I hope you liked it. Please like the video, comment and subscribe. Thanks.